Yours, Dr. Rajiv Sinha, Dr. William Verdini, Dr. Sarkar, trustees of the governing board, the faculty of this wonderful school, and my young friends. It is a real honor and privilege for me to be here today at the inauguration of MYRA's academic program for 2013-2014 and for the commencement of MYRA's founding batch. I think being the first in anything is always special. It's special when you have your first child, it's special when you get your first job, and for those of us who had the privilege of being the first batch of anything, I was not a first batch in MBA, but I was the first batch of ITeS, and I remember that was also a kind of special feeling. You feel you're out there as a pioneer. And for all of you young people, I know that what you are doing today is commencing a new journey. And what I would like to do is to share with you how I commenced my journey 30 years ago. Because exactly 30 years ago, I had joined a business school. And then I started my career as a trainee in banking. But now, today, very much like all of you, I'm starting a new journey too. So, like you, I am now entering a new world, a new career. I have started giving up my process of being in the bank. I have demitted my position as chief executive of the bank, and by the end of the year, I would have disengaged from RBS completely. And the rest of my journey, like your journey, I hope it is for the next 30 years for both of us, will be in the service of India. So, over the past several weeks, I have been reflecting on what are the similarities between my career as a banker and my career in public service. And of course, they're very different. In India particularly, we have a view of politics that is not very charitable. And my children were telling me, they said, how is it that you have managed to choose the two most unpopular careers in the world? One is a banker and one is a politician. And that of course is on a bit of a lighter side. But what I believe is that our learnings in any particular field can be translated into another field. And so what I'd like to share with you are 10 lessons of management that I learned at business school and during the course of my career, which I believe will hold me in good stead going forward, and perhaps if I share them, may be of some value to you as well. So, I would call these lessons of management because, what Hilary mentioned was what we're looking for as leaders, what we're looking for as entrepreneurs. And very early I realized that actually management and leadership and entrepreneurship are not things that can be taught, but they are things that can be learned. But what can be learned, and what I think we do learn in business schools, are very important lessons, and these are what I have summarized. So the first is the management of time. When you are in a business school, and I can certainly assure you, my young friends, that the one thing you're going to have to learn, whether you like it or not, is the management of time. You will be subjected to such a lot of case study work and discussion work and all of that sometimes 24 hours will seem too short. But what that teaches you is how you can fit everything into your day. It is possible to work hard. It is possible to play hard. It's also possible to party hard while you're doing all of that. And these are important lessons for life. And I do remember that when I got my first job after having studied in business school, our personnel director, I joined Grindlays Bank, and he said to us, he said, I want you, each of you, to be loyal to this bank. And of course, we were all nodding our heads. And he said, but I want you to understand that my definition of loyalty is not that you work here for 20 years, but that you earn your salary every single day. And I thought that was quite an interesting thing, because what it meant then is that every day you did your best for whatever extent you could, and then you went home. And a lot of people talk of work-life balance, and that can be a challenge for you. And that's a challenge not just in business school, but in life in general. And I believe that the lessons you learn here in time management are very, very important lessons for life. The second lesson of what I believe to be my management lessons is the management of expectations. Hilary mentioned that I had gone to INSEAD, but before that, I was privileged to have gained admission to IIM Calcutta. And even in those days, it was very competitive to get into IIM Cal. And even then, it was the engineers who had the best chance of getting in, and as a non-engineer, I was certainly in a minority. But I remember our day of induction as we were starting to get to know each other. The one question that everyone was asking each other was, where do you see yourself 5 years from now? I don't know, perhaps that's a question you are asking each other. I don't know what answers you are giving each other. But my batchmates in IIM Cal all saw themselves as either marketing directors or managing directors or finance directors. And of course, they were all much more brilliant than me. And I was looking around and saying, oh God, where have I reached? And so someone asked me, where do you see yourself 5 years from now? And I thought about it and I said, well, the one thing I can definitely see myself doing 5 years from now is standing behind a sink and washing dishes. And so that's what I said. And they thought I was joking, or they thought I was being foolish. But I think it's very important to manage expectations, particularly for the state of the economy in which we are now. As you can see, the global economy is going through a downturn. We are seeing that impact in India. And there are many management schools and there are many management students. And it is important that you temper your expectations. Be realistic. That doesn't mean that you should not dream. Dream big, but dream long term. As someone said, it's important not to be a sprinter, for life is a marathon. So have the big dream, have your expectations reasonable, give yourself the time to fulfill those dreams. And so the management of expectations, I think, is the second thing that I would have taken away. The third thing is the management of information. We, today, all of you, are the children of an information age. Today you have more information at your fingertips than humankind has had in all of recorded history. But as a consequence, we also have a massive information overload. It's very, very important to be able to sit back and reflect and ask the question, therefore what? When we have access to so much information, what sense do we make of it? How do we organize it? And I believe the people who are most successful are those who are able to take this information, to absorb it, to make sense of it, and to come with reasons and consequences that they are able to do something with. So I believe that that's a very, very important thing that you will learn in business school. You will have reams of data. You will have case studies, and Bill is smiling, which have 70 and 60 pages in them. And you have to be able to discern from that what is the essence of the issue. The fourth thing that I think it's very useful to be in the business school is that it teaches you the management of networks. Now I'll share with you a story. When I was at INSEAD, they had a course which was called, they started a course which was called Women in Management. This is of course in 1983. And like I suppose many of you, and I can see the young girls here smiling, I said, what nonsense. Why should I go for a Women in Management course? How parochial is that? I'm not going to join this program. And I had a senior, one of my seniors, who said, she said, you're being very foolish. This is not really about the course. This is about the network amongst women. And she said, you know, Meera, you will meet through your life mentors, guides, people who have faced similar issues like you. And that is the importance of networks. That is the importance of networks with their alumni networks, etc. And now with the tools we have, things like Facebook and LinkedIn, you're able to connect with your childhood friends, you're able to connect with communities that you're interested in. And a business school teaches you how to use those networks in a positive way. And one of the things that I will share with you is take advantage of these networks, but do so in a good way. Because you can only benefit if you give into the network. If you're only taking one way, then that becomes a network which will not sustain for a long time. The fifth thing is the management of image. And I will share with you sometimes, you know, involuntarily you create an image about yourself and the perception becomes a reality. So once again, I'll share with you an incident from our business school. We were, in some senses, a first batch. So INSEAD was a one-year program which ran June to June. And we were the first batch, which was a January to December batch. And so the business school then, as I'm sure all business schools, prides itself on business policy. And INSEAD at that time had a very good faculty in business policy. But we, as the January promotion of 1983, found that our business policy professor was a very young Belgian professor by the name of Philippe Aspeslaar. And so, you know, we discussed this with our seniors, we discussed with some of our alumni, and we arrived at the conclusion that we were being shortchanged. We were getting a professor who was not very good in business policy. So my flatmate and I, she was a lovely girl called Anne-Marie, we went and we started talking to our batchmates and said, this is unfair and we should do something about it. So we approached the management and we said, you know, we would like you to reconsider. And the management, of course, very wise, they invited all of us and they said, well, come, let's have a discussion and share your views. Now, it was an amphi like this, and the management was on the stage, and for some reason, Anne-Marie and I landed up last. So the whole amphi was filled, and we walked in right at the end. And the discussion had already started, and management, of course, was very sophisticated because they brought out all his qualifications and how talented he was, etc. And one by one, all the arguments that our batch was putting forward had been demolished. And so everyone started looking backwards to look for the next degree of support. And at one point, everyone had swiveled around, and as we walked in, were looking at us. And so management came to the view, rightly or wrongly, that we are the ones who were spearheading this revolution, or this revolt. And for months thereafter, everywhere we went, we'd suddenly find a faculty member standing next to us, because they thought we were, you know, invoking the next revolution. So I think, it worked out fine, and I will share with you, what happened next. But the management of image is really, really important. And I think you will see this in corporate life. Think back to British Petroleum and the oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico. Think back to 9/11 and Rudolph Giuliani speaking to the media. Think of Uttarakhand and how the images come to us where we believe that the state government is incompetent or that the army is effective. And whether this is true or not, the point is that the management of image is very, very critical, because the perception will become the reality. And so that brings me to the next point, which is very closely correlated, which is the management of stakeholders. And I'll go back to the same story of Philippe Aspeslaar, who started teaching us business policy and actually was a very good professor. And business policy carried double weightage at INSEAD. And so the final lectures were at the time when our placement was happening. And as I'm sure you will have in MYRA, there is a certain percentage of marks which is given for class participation. And I'm sure you'll find in your class there are some people who participate very actively and some people who are more silent, but who make more thoughtful observations. And eventually there's a certain group of people who think they're participating well and who are accustomed to getting good marks. So at the end of this program, when the marks came out, it created a big uproar because many students felt that they had been unfairly treated, they hadn't got the right marks, and as you can imagine, these were the more active and more vociferous students. And what Philippe did was he took out a little Excel sheet where he had the name of every single student and every single case study throughout the entire 2 periods. And he said, this is what you had said for the case study on Honda, this is what you had said for the case study on so-and-so. And he had in this, in the spreadsheet, the participation by comment of every single person. And that deflated the entire batch. There was no questions after that. And it taught me a great deal. It taught me also how this young professor had, of course, delivered very good lectures, and he's now, in fact, the dean of a leading business school. And we've stayed in touch for over the many years. And how he managed the stakeholder perception. Because every student went away feeling they had been fairly treated. Let me bring that to real life, because this is something that it's really important we learn. Who are the stakeholders in business? In business school, we learn that shareholders are very important, and they are. I can give you the example of my own company, ABN AMRO. I have served this organization now for 21 years. And those of you who've been following banking know that RBS took over ABN AMRO, and the consequence of that, because it was the financial turmoil, resulted in quite a difficult situation for both ABN AMRO and RBS, both of which got substantively nationalized. But what triggered it off was a shareholder, a small shareholder, a hedge fund called the Children's Investment Fund. And they started raising questions about shareholder return. And with a small stake of a few percentage, they essentially forced the takeover of one of the world's largest banks. So shareholders are very important, and they need to be managed well. Very important stakeholders are your board. Please think back of Vikram Bandal in Citibank, who was forced out of his position by the board, even though many in his own organization felt he had done a very good job. Clearly you have your unions, your employees, very important stakeholders. If not managed properly, the results can be catastrophic. A few years ago, you may recall, Maruti, the HR head of Maruti went into a conflict and in his own organization was beaten to death and set on fire. These are horrific incidents, but what they teach you is that stakeholders need to be managed. And certainly, last but not least, is the public, our society, our communities, the media. And these govern a lot of things. And so one of the very important things that you will learn in business school is the management of stakeholder relationships in a safe environment. And these are very important lessons. The 7th lesson is the management of value. And I don't call this money or finance, because you will learn financial management. But it's the management of value. Your parents or yourself have taken loans to send you to this business school. Make every day count. Do a calculation. What are your fees divided by your 2-year program, and say every day, am I delivering to myself the maximum value that I can get from this program? And as you go out into the world, ask the same question. Am I earning every penny of my salary? We were young students, we used to say to each other, don't act as if this is your dad's company. Right? Don't waste the money. But act as if it's your own company. Act as if you are the entrepreneur. Make every rupee count for yourself, for your customer. Are you delivering value? And I think individuals and companies who do that will always succeed. The eighth item is the management of outcomes. I think it's really important to ask yourself, before you embark on any task or any journey, what is the outcome you want from this? And to you yourself, let me ask, how many people are looking, what do you look for at the end when you have completed this journey? How many are looking for a job? Will you raise your hands? How many are looking to start their own companies? How many are looking to find a life partner? So you could have different outcomes. And I think if you're clear of the outcome that you're looking for, then you go into it in a different way. And one of the very important lessons I've learned is that sometimes if you're clear about what you're hoping to get out of it, then the path to that becomes simpler. The ninth item, and I feel very passionately about this, is the management of India. We, I think, are extremely fortunate to live in India at this point in time. Now, as a child, I often wondered, what would it have been like to live in Japan after World War II? Or to live in the United States at the time of the great, after the Depression, when you see this massive explosion of wealth, when you see, millions of people coming out of poverty, becoming middle-class people. And I think we are uniquely privileged to see that happening in India today. This is the golden age of India. You see millions transforming their lives. Over the course of the last year, I took a sabbatical and I went on a journey to the villages of India, where our RBS Foundation works. In total, about 4 months, 120 villages, and I spent a day and a night with some of the beneficiaries of our program. And what I have learned is that this is really a wonderful country. The people of our country have big hearts and broad shoulders. What lets us down, unfortunately, has been our leadership. And I believe that can change. And I believe you are part of that change. Place amongst your objectives the objective of managing India better, of leading India better. You will see that there is such a big impact that you as an individual can make in this country. It's not many countries in which we can do that. You can change the life of another person. You can change the life of another family. You can sometimes change the life of a village, a society, a community. One person can make a difference. That person can be you. And then the last and the most important point, the 10th point, I think is the management of yourself. And that above all it's about you. It's about your dreams. It's about your aspirations. I was having an interview with someone the other day and they said, Meera, look back 30 years and what would you say to your younger self? And that took me, made me think a lot. But the question I have for you is think forward 30 years and what would you say to your future self? Take that time to dream. Take that time to think who you can be. Take the courage to follow that dream. And I'll share with you the last story. It was the day that we were leaving INSEAD. And we had a very nice speaker come and talk to us and it was the end of placement. And he said, remember one thing. Your education, your background, the studies you have done here, the job you will get. This is all wonderful, but it is a golden cage. You will have a good job, you will have a good car, you will have a good housing loan, you will have a good life. And those dreams that you had when you were a young person, you will put them off to another day. You will say, you know, when I get my next promotion, when I have my next Ferrari, whatever it is. It will be a golden cage. And so, what I would say to you is what this gentleman said to us. He said, follow your dream. Money is important. Material things are important. Success is important. But at some point, there will come a time when the time is right for you to open that cage and follow that dream. And I think that is very, very important. So I would say that that, in my view, is the 10th and most important lesson that you should carry from your business school. Charlene quoted the words of a very beautiful poem by Robert Frost. And so what I'd like to do is to end on the words of a similar poem of similar vintage. It's a beautiful poem by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow called A Sound to Life. And I'm a naval child, and we grew up everywhere, but one of the places we always went back as a family was a small beach near Bombay, which is a naval establishment. And my parents and my brother and I, we would, at sunset, we would walk on the beach. And these are the words my father would share with us. He would say, lives of great men all remind us we must leave our lives sublime. And departing, leave behind us footprints on the sands of time. And I would, always look back, and I would always see the waves coming in and washing away the footprints. And I would say to my dad, well, they've got washed away. And he'd say, yes, and this is true of life. Time erases everything. But what it doesn't erase is the footprints we leave. Voluntarily or involuntarily, knowingly or unknowingly, we all leave footprints. We leave footprints on the hearts of those who are close to us. Our families, our parents, our partners, our children, our teachers, our friends, our students, on our communities, on our society, on our country, on our planet. We all leave footprints. And so, what I would wish for you as you start this journey on your life is may the footprints you leave be the footprints that you have chosen. May those footprints be the ones that carry you on your journey to your dreams. And may they be good footprints. May they be significant. And may they bring change for the better. Thank you.